Caitlin Glass, the voice of Vados from Dragon Ball Super.
This is Paul St.
Super, and you are watching
Brian Awesome. There's a reason we call him Brian Awesome. It's because he's awesome, Brian. I, as Zenless, am truly awed by Brian.
Awesome commentary, Batman Beyond, Splicers. Let's go. Only Toonami, or Kids WB, or DVD seasons, or complete DVD seasons, or streaming, or wherever. I am Batman. As we all know, it started with Batman animated series and eventually led into Batman Beyond, and to current time Justice League, and then back to Batman Beyond. And the reason why a lot of people like these shows, especially Batman Beyond, is because not just the action and plot, but it's relatable. Like, look at this day and age. We don't have any superheroes per se. We have some regular folks that try to, or not regular, always regular, but people who try to make a difference. But the common thing that we often see is, violence or some type of chaos. And then it's almost like when you watch Batman Beyond, or when you look at real life, oftentimes the targets of this type of chaos is, the youth. Anybody between the teenage years or even younger, all the way into people in their 20s and 30s who still had that youthful mindset for change and evolution, are the targets of, chaos and whatnot. Because oftentimes when you look at stuff that's happening to people in the news, oftentimes it's happening to the youth. Or you see stupid crap being advertised or being pushed on us, and the youth is often the target. I mean, look at this episode. Splicing, messing with your DNA, messing with your original genetic makeup. A cashless society. Everything's credit card. People being targeted through the credit cards that they use all the time with diseases. Look at real life. Practically the same thing. With the current disease being the coronavirus, we in practically a cashless society. We just use cash, either Cash App or a credit card. That's the only physical thing that we use the most. And people still messing with the damn DNA. And I don't mean just having sex everywhere, but people still changing their genetic makeup. I don't like the way my hair looks. I want to perm it, I want to straighten it, I want to dye it. Dye it, really? Die? Kill? Die? Really? But with the rant aside, this is a Toonami airing of Batman Beyond Splicers. It already had its run on Kids WB, some good moments. Because Kids WB, like I mentioned before, has always been kid oriented, but they had their serious moments. But when the show came to Toonami, it's just the general atmosphere was different. Same show, just different, more serious atmosphere. So that's why it still felt different watching Batman Beyond on Toonami compared to watching it on KWB. Same thing, or a similar situation with, watching Family Guy on Fox Sundays and watching it on Adult Swim. Same episodes. They if they do edit it, they'll edit it the same way between both networks or blocks. But it just, the whole atmosphere is less restrictions on Adult Swim since it's later in the night, whereas on Fox it's prime time on Sundays, so more people are watching it either before the adults go to bed for work in the morning, or the kids go to bed for school in the morning. So sometimes it'll most likely it'll be more of a chance of them editing shows on Fox as opposed to Adult Swim. So they probably, for Family Guy, they aired that Weinstein episode on Adult Swim first before airing it on Fox. Do y'all ever look at the consequences of these stupid trends? Or y'all just complain whenever anybody speaks against it? At least hear both sides of the story, whether you're on one side or not. And that can appeal to real life, sadly. I mean, really look at this. Not just looking at old Batman, old action. I mean, look at the underlying context, meaning, and messages in these type of episodes. Being a superhero, especially a teen superhero, has to have its headaches, to be honest. Because what if you want to try to have a normal life, dating and stuff, and if something comes up, you have to leave in the middle of the date, and it's worse if your partner doesn't know that you're a superhero, with the whole secret identities and everything. So you have to explain why you ditched your date in the middle of a date, because you had to go fight crime or something. Or investigate something. Quick thinking. And keep in mind that the earlier episodes of the first season of Batman Beyond on KWB, of course, was being made while they were still finishing up the Batman Superman Adventures. So that's a lot of a workload for, the animators and voice directors. So they had to split their resources upon those three shows. But it was beneficial to us as fans, because now at the time In 1999, we had 3 different DC shows, amongst the other action stuff and the Bugs Bunny big cartoonish stuff that we had on KWB at the time. You know, finishing up on the rest of the Batman adventures portions of it, and then the rest of Superman leading up to him facing Darkseid, and then early Batman Beyond. Knock his head off. Barbara Gordon should have let Terry beat the crap out of him. But yeah, this is the same city that lets the same people go in and out of Arkham. It's one thing that I hate about various versions of Marvel and DC. I mean, they have good ideals, but at the same time, ideals won't work for every single situation. I mean, it's wrong to kill villains. We just send them to jail, prison. That's the right thing to do. We don't eliminate our enemies. I am Batman. Truth, justice, and merit, that doesn't work all the damn time, bruh. I mean, imagine if they did that crap in anime, or imagine if they did that crap in Dragon Ball Z. Exactly. Barbara Gordon looked like she waited a long time to try to warn Bruce. But they, obviously Joker, as an example, will go out and kill more people. So they should have just eliminated the Joker. I mean, they got the electric chair and all that stuff in Arkham. But they keep sending the Joker back to rehab. So I bet a lot of people who 100% are behind truth and justice probably look at people like the Justice Lords as 100% villains. Good old Tom. I wonder what were the top 10 episodes. I like how a lot of shows found a secondary home on Cartoon Network / Toonami after they ran its course a lot of times on KWB and other networks, as I kind of already mentioned. Good thing about Super Soakers is that if you couldn't afford the actual thing, they had bootleg versions at the dollar store. Off-brand versions, that is. Okay, 1 to 9:30. I think Outkast was also on this soundtrack as well for the first movie. I feel like I'm about to ask a dumb question. Why didn't they use the cast of the first two live action Scooby Doo movies for any of the other live action stuff that they did for Scooby Doo? And people will say it's more expensive for the actual movie cast. Well, they could just pay them less, but over time those episodes would build up to the same amount as one of the movies, or more so, at least slightly. Now back to the show. Interesting fact. Bruce, at this point, or even before working for Wayne Enterprises again, he made his Batman Beyond suit while he was still younger. He made the Batman Beyond suit by scratch, but he had to sell a lot of assets of Wayne Enterprises as Bruce Wayne originally retired to make the original Batman Beyond suit. So Bruce is back at Wayne Enterprises at this point, but I don't think he's like full-time running it like he was previously during the old Batman animated series days. So it still has to be not cost efficient, or it still has to cost him a lot each time Terry's Batman Beyond suit is torn like this. Like the mask is gone and the arms are gone, so he has to repair it. So he probably doesn't have too many spares. So it's just a thought that came to mind. Another interesting fact. The Bruce Timm DCAU isn't that different or too far different from our real life universe in regards to fiction and pop culture. Because they'll have fictional bands like the Gotham Girls or whoever, but they'll have actual celebrities there that we have in real life. From your Beyoncé's to Shaquille O'Neal's to them still having some form of Warner Brothers. Like they still have Scooby Doo, hence Scooby Doo and Snoopy. Hence why Terry McGinnis referred to Ace as those names. I like how older 90s shows, at least some of them, still hold up to this day visually and plot wise. Or how Batman Beyond is set in the future, but the show was made before current day Justice League or Justice League Unlimited. But creators or even fans can retroactively put in continuity implants for current day episodes that are made after this, to where by the time we do get back to or refer to, you know, a Batman Beyond episode, that it was established that splicing or the royal flush game was established in the present. Hence why you got them in the future. Or Copperhead was one of the first people to splice when looking at current day episodes of Justice League, when you look at the Injustice gang episodes and all of them, to where that's why splicing became more of a thing by the time you get to the future of Batman Beyond. But at the same time, it's sad that the Justice League, by the time he got to the full-on unlimited roster and the secondary heroes and the Titans, he had all them superheroes in current day times, but yet by the time you get to Batman Beyond, most of those Jokers are either dead or retired. To where when you look at least the Justice League, which was the biggest established team at that point, you was down to Static and Warhawk and most of the heroes that you saw in the Call episodes of Batman Beyond. And that's sad because that's less of an influence for the youth by the time you get to the future. Not saying that just superheroes have to be the ones to influence the youth and society in a positive manner, but they were the main ones just in actuality. I mean, Cobra, considering how much they had to deal with when they were originally enemies with Cadmus and people like that, when looking at Justice League Unlimited and current day episodes, Cobra and Max Powers and all these different people in the future of Batman Beyond would not have been a damn issue if you still had 50 plus members in the Justice League, with some of them being in the Watchtower, some of them being in the Metro Tower, some of them may being back on the home world. But if any of those specific members were needed, you would have someone in the Watchtower and or the Metro Tower to call on them, to send them to certain locations that they will be needed to stop possible Cobra attacks or Cobra infiltrating society and Cobra poisoning people's credit cards, because that's the main form of credit that we use, thus poisoning the youth and stopping people from sending drugs and infiltrating our communities with venom. High school kids slapping themselves with venom packs and shit. That shit would not have been possible for the most part if the Justice League was still around, because even if certain members were retired, you know, your Wildcats or your John Stewarts or to an extent Static or a few other heroes, even if they were retired, some of them would probably still be active, at least to the point of still being able to have super strength or some form of abilities that they had, to where if Cobra started sending drugs or venom in certain communities that those retired heroes were living in, they would beat the ass. Like, get this out of our communities, and they would at least go send this information to people that's still in the Justice League to be like, y'all need to stop this. Especially for heroes like Steel, who is community oriented. And had a strong sense of right and wrong, especially. Life lesson. So yeah, that was Batman Beyond Splicers. when it was on Toonami. Good episode, action-wise, good episode, plot-wise, and a good episode and show in comparison to real life. So you can actually learn from stuff like this. So learning doesn't always have to come from a school or a teacher or a Bible or something. You can learn from different sources that the universe can bring to you. So yeah, that was Batman Beyond. And until next awesome commentary.